Well, welcome to the Navigating Your Life show. I'm your host, Nat Williams. Tonight we'll dive into the financial world and look at how to avoid some of the common financial mistakes and how to become more financially stable. We will seek advice from several financial experts as well as to gain some insight from individuals themselves on their financial challenges and what tips they can share with all of us. To highlight some of the most current statistics, according to the Nielsen report completed in 2009, 78% of American households, and that's about 91 million, had one or more credit cards at the end of 2008. And the average credit card debt per that household was about $8,329. And based on data derived from the United States Census, nearly 1 in every 35 households in the United States filed for bankruptcy in 2007. I had the opportunity to visit with individuals to get their feedback on what financial challenges they have had and what they've done to fix them. We spoke with Kent Richardson and Mallory Vo about their personal finances and the good and the not so good decisions they have made. And here's what happened. Well, Kent and Mallory, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're going to have a conversation with you about common financial mistakes that people have made. You don't have to disclose anything that you can talk about in theory about other people, of course, and we'll know exactly that you're talking about yourself. But again, thank you so much for joining us. When you have looked at your own finances and things that you could have done differently, what would be something that, in retrospect, you would have done differently now that you know what you know about some of your financial matters?
For me, definitely in college, using credit cards. I was one of those people that got hooked in rather early, and if I could go back, I would have lived just spending cash. And when I graduated from college, I was almost $18,000 in debt.
Wow.
I didn't have any loans, student loans, but I had the credit card debt.
Wow. And how easy was it to get a credit card back then for you?
Oh, it's extraordinarily easy. I mean, I know credit's harder to get today.
Sure.
But back then they're on the campus just sitting there, and you just go sign up. And from what I've read, college students are one of the best financial risks.
Wow. And so when you left college, as you said, you had $18,000 worth of debt, and that had nothing to do related to your education per se.
Fun during my education.
Wow. Wow. And Mallory, what would you say if you had to look back, you would do things a little differently?
For me, it would be choosing to go to community college for my first 2 years. I was one of those stubborn 18-year-olds who said, I'm leaving, I'm going away to school, I'm spending my 4 years away from home. Wow. And because of it, I could have spent, I figured it out, not even $7,000 for 2 years at a community college to get my associate's degree. And instead, I left my private Catholic 4-year institution with $90,000.
And the $90,000, how many years do you have to pay that back?
Well, luckily, I did get a small inheritance. So I still have about $63,000 now, but still a nice chunk. And I think I have 20 years.
Wow.
It's kind of like having a mortgage.
And have you looked at your family tree to see anyone else that may expire relatively soon? We'll leave that part. So you have a little friend here from the other show. All right. So you're looking at some of the challenges you've had with your finances. How did you fix them? How did you, I guess, in your case, Mallory, you're working toward it and you have a couple more years to take care of it. How did you take care of your challenge, Kent?
Well, I made a point to not eat out as much. The things that are, let's say a little frivolous, I cut back on those somewhat. And then I just always made a point that I paid off some of my debt every month. My friends would say, hey, Kent, I'd always say, well, I don't want to do that. I want to be able to pay off my credit cards. And so that was kind of my little mantra through my 20s. And so I didn't get it all paid off until my early 30s.
Wow. As we get ready to wrap up, any advice that you'd like to share with our viewers based on what your journey has been that you'd want to share with them in conclusion? So Mallory, we'll go with you first.
I think the biggest thing is to be able to say no. You do have the people out there, like he had said about how the credit card companies see you as a high risk, so they want to give it to you. And same thing with like mortgages. They tell you you can afford it, but then you don't think about, okay, well, you got to eat, you got to pay for your phone, you got to pay for this, that, and the other thing. You can have the house, but then you don't get anything else. So it's just important to not get roped in and to be able to say, no, actually, I can't afford that. So I think that's important. It's just willpower and being able to say
Discipline,
no. Right,
Wow.
discipline.
Very good. Kent, please, any final thoughts you have?
Definitely, I would say to any parents that have their kids are in college, don't assume that because they're academically successful, and I went to UCLA, so I had good grades, that they necessarily know how to manage their finances.
No, they're not one and the same.
They're not one and the same. And I watched a documentary, I think it was called Maxed Out, and there were some kids that were very academically successful and got into debt, and parents shared how they committed suicide because they felt trapped. And I never felt that trapped. I always knew that worst comes to worst, you could always go bankrupt. That's far better than suicide. But I would say to parents, talk to your kids and say, you know what, how are you doing there? My parents just kind of assumed I would take care of it. I knew how to manage it. I didn't.
Well, again, Kent and Mallory, I thank you so much for sharing your own personal story a little bit and giving some advice to our viewers. I'm sure it'll be very helpful to them. So thank you both.
Thank you.
Well, again, thank you so much, Kent and Mallory, for sharing their experience with us. We're now going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk with two financial experts. Stay with us.
Are you ready to experience personal success in all 8 domains of life? Then join Dr. Nat Williams for the Absolutes of Success Weekend Transformation Program at Tucson, Arizona, and achieve your greatest potential. Registration includes a 2-night stay with meals at the beautiful Westward Look Resort. Register today, only $6.99, or register with a friend and pay only $9.99 with shared room. Call 1-800-810-3683 or visit absolutesofsuccess.com.
Anthony, 15, loves to draw, and he dreams of going to college and then having a career as an artist. He especially enjoys drawing superheroes. Other pastimes include playing basketball, listening to rhythm and blues music, karaoke, watching cartoons on television, and going fishing. He's in the 10th grade, and he likes all of his classes, but math is his favorite. He has experienced many separations and losses and yearns to have a permanent family with either 2 parents or a single male parent. For adoption information, please access the National Adoption Center's website at www.adopt.org, or for further information specifically on Anthony, please contact Crystal Allen at callen@adopt.org.
When caring about someone becomes caring for someone, there's help at your beck and call. For over 12 years, Beck and Call's in-home caregivers have been providing assistance with the activities of daily living, everything from mealtime to bathing, or just being there when you can't be. Being at home is important to them. Give them flexible assisted living services that come right to the door. Gain peace of mind. Call Beck and Call today at 570-426-7507. We look forward to your family becoming part of ours.
Well, welcome back to the Navigating Your Life show. I'd like to welcome to the studio Yvonne Candy of WNJC Radio in New Jersey, as well as Jim Kniper of New York Life. So welcome, Yvonne.
Thank you.
And welcome, Jim.
Doctor.
Good. So I wanted to spend our time today talking a little bit about how to build some wealth. And I understand that both of you are experts in that. And Yvonne, why don't you share with our listeners, or our viewers, what your expertise is in that area?
Well, my expertise is how to have the mindset of building wealth. Building wealth is basically knowing what to do and how to do it, and putting that into action, putting a plan into action. So I suggest that people start with savings. And for instance, and I teach a lot about savings because people don't save enough in these days and times, and they don't really have too much of a saving pattern at this particular time.
Wow. And Jim, please tell us what your expertise is there.
Well, I've been with New York Life for 27 years, and we do all the financial products. I'm more into retirement planning, the 401k rollovers and stuff like that. But try to encourage the young people to start saving at an early age as well, and that's important. Time's very important when it comes to trying to accumulate money.
Sure.
So.
And I've seen some studies where if a person starts early, the earlier you start, I'll let you finish the sentence.
Well, as we were talking before we came on stage, is when you're trying to accumulate money, there's 2 things that are going to basically determine how much money you make on your money. One is rate of return, which you have no control over. The other is time. And the one little sample that I was talking with Yvonne about was comparing a 25-year-old, and as I told Yvonne, these were old calculations, as you'll see from the rate of return, but a 25-year-old starting to save $2,000 a year at 8% old, at age 65 will have $559,000. A lot of 25-year-olds are probably not going to start saving money at that age. So let's go to 30. You go to 30, you're a little more mature at that point in time. Start saving the same $2,000 at the same 8%, all the way to age 65. That person's only going to have $339,000, $220,000 less for 5 years difference.
And it gets worse.
It does get worse very rapidly. You know, it starts degrading fast.
And Yvonne, you talked about a mindset.
Yes.
What is one of the major things that a person has to do to prepare themselves to begin the journey of trying to make themselves more financially stable? What is the first thing that you suggest to a person to start changing their mindset?
Well, you have to change your spending habits. You have to change the things that you do or that are causing you to not to build your wealth. Like Jim was speaking about saving. I don't believe that you're never too young to save. First of all, and I don't believe it has anything to do with the amount of money you have, whether it's $5 or $5,000.
Yvonne, you bring up a really good point that over the years we've heard of a janitor, we've heard of a housekeeper, we've heard of people that didn't have a lot of money that left a lot of money to institutions.
Very wealthy, millions and millions of dollars. And so that's a good example. Because it doesn't matter if you make $5 or $5,000. It's having a plan in place, having a budget, having structure with your money, and having respect for your money. I mean, once you learn to appreciate and respect money, then I believe more money will come to you, because then you'll have another mindset and you'll think of new ideas of how to make money.
Wow. What do you think of that, Jim?
You know, I agree with her 100%. You know, it is a mindset, and the funny thing about it is, just share a real quick story with you. I used to live next door to a bar when I was a younger fellow. And every Saturday at 1 o'clock, a fellow used to come there and buy a 6-pack of beer, be back at 3 o'clock, buy another 6-pack of beer. And he would do that Saturday, and he would do that Sunday. Now, this particular individual was driving a very old car. He did this, he was like clockwork. Every weekend he did this. I'm thinking if he just had a little different mindset, he had the mindset that he was probably never going to have any money, so why even try to make the effort of having money? But if he had just a little different mindset and went out and bought a case or 2 cases of beer on Friday, the money he would have saved on that would have probably been $80. Now we're going back in the 70s, would have been about $80 a month. He could have bought a nicer car or whatever, uplifted his standard of living just by making the effort, you know, managing the money. But what I've found, and I think Yvonne will probably agree with me, a lot of people that don't have money think that they never can have it. So they make no effort to have it, you know. And you just have to have the mindset that, you know, that you're going to make the effort. And what I found out also, and tell me if you agree or disagree, what I also found out is that the more people seem to have or acquire, then the more they're motivated to have. And the more effort they make to save, you know, and you know, it's not even just about making money, it's also about saving money. You know, instead of going out and buying the jeans that we were talking about in the back row, maybe buy, you know, a jean that's $80, buy one that's $50 or $24, and then take that savings and put it away.
You know, I was talking about this same thing with someone about motivation. And I was asking them, how do you get motivated to even go to the next step? Because first of all, you have to have a will and desire. And you have to have a will and desire to educate yourself, you know, to go out there and find this information. I think that's what this show is all about. So you want to know, how do you get yourself motivated? Well, first, you got to be around the right people, places, and things. I mean, you take a show like this. You know, people flip channels and they'll just flip right by this show. You know, why flip by the show when you can find out a wealth of information right here and put it into action and start building your wealth?
And so often, as you mentioned, the issue of the show, a lot of times what we'll do will be a creature of habit. We'll watch the same show that we've already seen, know the outcome, as opposed to something that's new that you may not know the outcome just because that's where comfort is. Before we get ready to wrap up, I wanted to ask you, Jim, the products that a person should be looking for to make sure that they have the things to protect them. You mentioned, I think, life insurance, a 401k, but what are some of the things that should be on a person's radar screen to make sure that they have the ingredients that would help them to be protected?
Well, you know, again, life insurance, I'm a strong believer in disability insurance. Your most valuable asset is your ability to earn money. And if you can't earn money, you can't save money. you know. So yeah, you have to cover the basics, you know, insure for the unlikely or the stuff that will most devastate you financially.
Sure.
And then once you have that in place, I then advocate that, you know, I try to get my clients to have 3 to 6 months of savings set aside to cover them in a, you know, a financial hardship, which, by the way, very few people do. All right. And then once you're there, you know, you have all your safety nets in place, then you can start going for the long-term financial planning, either for the college education or for the retirement planning.
But I think having a chance to talk to a financial advisor is so very important,
Right.
wherever you are.
Right.
As a person that's maybe making $18,000 a year, or a person making, you know, $1.8 million, you need to be talking to someone to give you some advice and help you with some options.
Definitely.
Before we wrap up, I want to give Yvonne and you, Jim, a chance to share any closing thoughts you have with our viewers.
Well, I like to say that it's very important to your financial wealth is to start a saving plan and a budget. You cannot know what's going in and out your pocket unless you know what's going in and out your pocket, and you have to pay attention to your budget and stick by that. I think once you do that and start the savings first, by all means and foremost, you will find yourself in a better position and will see yourself becoming to build that wealth that you want to desire. And wealth isn't all about, Matt, it's not all about money. It's all about having discipline, like I said, and appreciation for money, so you don't have to work hard to get money. Your money is working hard for you.
Exactly.
Good. Jim,
Yeah.
anything you want to share?
I agree with that 100%. And the one line that I really liked out of that was the fact that, you know, get your money so that your money is working hard for you instead of you working hard all the time. You know, and I call it lazy money. Try not, you know, after you accumulate the money, which is, you know, is the primary thing, you know, then try not to have it being too lazy as well. You know, try to maximize your yield within your comfort zone.
And a friend once shared with me that it's so important when you get that paycheck that you find a way to pay yourself first.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so many people do not
They
do
pay,
that.
you know, they pay all their utilities
Right.
and their rent and their
Right.
mortgage, but they don't put any money away for them. So I know that both of you would agree that that's so
Oh,
important.
yes.
I agree.
Okay.
And that can be done automatically.
Yeah, exactly.
And a nice, easy way to do it without any thought at all is just you have your job deducted, or even your bank institution. They can take it out of one account and put it into another. So you don't have to think about it. You won't miss it. And it's there. And the only way that you would touch this money is a life or death situation. You know, and start other plans. I mean, you know, when you talk about taking care of yourself, take the vacation. 1 or 2 days here if you have to. Start a vacation club. And Jim and I were talking about this. Vacation clubs now are coming back in style. So people are starting to save and set aside that saving account for their vacation club, their taxes, their holiday clubs. These accounts, you don't miss the money, you don't see the money. Good idea to start.
Wow. Well, again, Yvonne, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
coming
my
on.
pleasure.
And Jim, thank you so much. We're going to now take a break, and we'll come back with an opportunity to talk with a banker. So stay with us.
At Bridge to Creative Learning and Childcare Center, your child will learn and play the creative way in a safe and secure environment. We offer a fun and caring educational-based atmosphere and allow parents to monitor their child's activities. We are a state-licensed childcare center offering academic preparation, after-school programs, creative learning, summer activities, and much more. Call us at 610-351-7400. Prepare your child for a brighter future.
Ready for some fun? FunWorks assists individuals with and without disabilities to participate in community activities. These activities are provided in small settings for 1 to 8 individuals with at least 1 to 2 direct support professionals. We visit places like Dollywood, Willow Valley Inn, Phillies Games, Iron Pigs Games, the Lehigh Valley Zoo, and more. Let us know your dream trip. Our staff is dedicated to ensuring your dream activities come true. For more information, call 888-966-9466 or visit funworksinc.org.
In these challenging times, your organization needs employees that maximize results. HumanWorks Training and Educational Services provides results-focused seminars for your staff. Topics include management and motivating employees, stress management, team building and leadership skills, and cultural diversity. Register today, just $89.99 or $75 for chamber members. Call 484-893-5057 or visit hwtes.com.
Well, welcome back to the Navigating Your Life show. And now joining us is Wendy Lewis, who is with the Bank of America. So welcome, Wendy, to the show.
Thank you.
Good. And I understand your expertise is mortgages. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the things that people should be aware of as they look at their mortgage?
I would say at this point for homeowners that have existing mortgages, they should really contact the corporate location if they're not going to be able to make a payment or be late on the payment, because once you make the payment late and do not contact the mortgage company, then you will go late on your mortgage, which will affect your credit as well. As to new buyers, it's a great time to buy right now. There's first-time homebuyer tax credits that are incentives to the government, and pre-qualifying for a mortgage isn't as strict as the misconceptions are right now. It is more strict than it used to be, but there are still a lot of great programs out there, 100% financing programs that can really help homeowners get into new homes.
So Wendy, when a person's looking at their mortgage, when should be the time that they look at potentially refinancing?
I would say each specific scenario is different. If you have a larger loan amount, it can make sense to refinance to go 1/4% to 0.5% lower than what you have right now. Where lower loan amounts, it may make more sense to go 1% lower in interest rate from what you have now.
There are people out there, I think, that have had a mortgage for a long period of time, and they take pride in saying that my mortgage began in 1999 and I have 20 years or 30 years to go, and they never consider refinancing. Is that a bright or a wise way to go when it comes to your mortgage?
I would say no, because there are lower terms that you can go to. We do 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30-year terms. So if someone is paying on a 30-year mortgage, they've paid in 10 years, we would look at refinancing them to a 20 or a 15-year. I'm actually right now refinancing numerous people from a 30 to a 10-year because the interest rates on a 10-year are about 3.875 to 4%.
Compared to what they had before, which was?
Which is anywhere between 6.5% and 8.5%.
Wow.
That's a huge difference. So most of the time, because of the amount difference in the rate, the payment isn't that much higher, even though you're lowering your term from a 30-year to a 10-year.
Wow. And so it's important to understand that there are so many options out there. And I think one of the things that to me is so important is for people to recognize whatever bank you choose, that should be a partner in your success on the financial side. And I think so often people just look at a bank as a place to do transactions. And I think that Bank of America and so many other banks want to be seen as more of a relationship.
Absolutely.
Would you agree?
Yes, we pride ourselves on customer service. I have customers that I've been in the business for almost 9 years now. I've had customers that I've done 9 years ago, and I've now done their parents, their brothers, their sisters, their cousins, and it's all about, once you get comfortable with that person, you will tell everyone to call that person because you know that they've taken care of you, and they know that you will take care of their family and friends as well.
And you mentioned earlier about people running into some problems, and again, I would think that's so important. You're having a problem, get on the telephone, call the bank, and explain to them what the challenge is. Would you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely. There are a lot of modifications that the mortgage companies are doing right now. They will still look to make sure that you can qualify to do the modification. If you have no source of income and are trying to do a modification, they'll work with you, but to an extent where you still have to be able to show that you can make the new mortgage payment once it's lowered down. So in those situations, yes, you always need to call the bank. Even if you're not falling behind, if you're getting close where you've maybe taken a job where you have less income and the payment's getting a little tight, again, call a mortgage loan officer. They can walk you through it. It might be better to refinance because, again, if you can get the interest rate lowered, and it may be able to lower that payment to where you're comfortable, and then you won't have to worry about falling behind on your mortgage.
Sure. And again, the banks offer so many different products, and a lot of times because they come on and they come off, you may not be aware of them. If you have to be in contact with your bank, just to hear about the different things that are available to them.
Yeah.
Anything else related to mortgages that you want to share with our viewers?
I would just say, again, right now is a great time to buy and to sell. They've also extended the first-time homebuyer tax credit to current homeowners. If you've lived in your house for 5 years as your primary residence, you now are eligible to qualify for a $6,500 tax credit.
Wow, wonderful. Well, Wendy, thank you so much for coming in and sharing with our viewers your insights.
Thank you for having me.
Good. We're now going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Enrich your life at Sacred Heart Villa, situated atop Mount St. Michael on 40-plus scenic acres. Our caring staff includes missionary sisters and on-site licensed nurses 24/7. We offer medical reminders as well as dispensing medication and transportation to medical appointments. With excellent food, fun events, a spacious hall, safe rooms, and much more, your life will be enriched. Call 610-929-5751 or go to sacredheartvilla-readingpa.org.
As we all know, the job market is difficult to penetrate. Please look at the short resume on the screen and contact the email address below if this person's skills is of interest to you or your company. Let's help him get back into the saddle. I sincerely hope today's show has been enlightening, encouraging, and empowering for you. During a time when our economy has affected the pockets of many Americans, we all need to be responsible, to take control, and to act on improving our finances. Whether it's seeking the help of a financial advisor or as simple as creating our own personal budget, planning is the key to financial stability. It is believed that with the right resources, we can all avoid even the most common financial challenges. I'm looking forward to having you join us next week when we will be discussing innovative tips for traveling with kids. You won't want to miss that show. I sincerely thank you for spending time with us this evening, and I wish you the very best.
A list of resources related to today's show is available on our website, which is navigatingyourlifeshow.com. On this site, there is a connection to our Facebook and Twitter pages and to our blog. While you are there, you can also email your comments on today's show or share ideas for future shows.
Enlightenment, navigate your life. Enlightenment, navigate your life. Empowerment, navigate your life. Encouragement,